Hello everyone, this is Dragonfly, and this is the fourth installment of our DCS World Mission Editor mission scenario that we're building together. And this scenario that I've got built up right now, this is pretty much where we ended up on at the end of our third video, but I did add a few more um, SAMs because I wanted to make it a little bit more challenging. And I also fleshed out the mission scenario a bit. I'll show you that. Actually, I'm just going to start it. I think it's easier to see it if I actually start the mission. Um, on the actual situation, and I did this for your all's benefit, so you wouldn't have to suffer through seeing me typing all this in. But I like to make the situations as realistic as possible, as immersive as possible, or at least as immersive and realistic as I can make them. So the title, UN Aid Relief to Samtredia. The situation is really the overall situation, and then we'll get into the objectives later. But for the situation, Red forces have recently attacked the village of Samtredia with chemical weapons in order to silence political dissidents. The United Nations General Assembly has met in emergency session and agreed to provide humanitarian aid to the survivors in the area. A U.S. Marine Expeditionary Force has been deployed to the eastern Black Sea to provide limited military support to the UN and prevent future chemical attacks. Tactical Air Control Center, call sign Warhorse, is operating on mission-specific frequencies ranging from 260 to 266 on COM2. That's our radio to because of the way I have the mission set up. Then I just put a few of the particulars on the mission that will help us out as we're flying along in case we forget them. The Tarawa is TACAN channel 11, initial bearing of 360 degrees. The Dallas FARP that we put in is on 250 frequency, and it's channel 40 on the TACAN. And our tanker that we put in on the last video, the KC-130 call sign Texaco, is on 251 TACAN channel 30, and it's orbiting at 15,000 feet and 250 knots. And then just a note in here that if we actually want to use SAMs in the mission, use the F10 menu to activate the red SAMs. Okay, now what I've done is I've fleshed out three different missions that we are going to build. One of them we've already built, which was the armor at the bridge. But anytime I build one of these missions, I always think of other little missions I want to put in, and that's kind of what happened in this case. So let's go down to the objectives, and I'll show you the three missions that we're going to build. And once we've built these three, we'll probably go ahead and do our mission playthrough and fly those three, and then depending on how that goes, we may build some more. So mission one, this is the one I'm adding and going to show you how I did it today, is a what we call a dead mission or deed mission. It's the destruction of enemy air defense. An SA-8 providing point defense at the bridge just south of Samtredia is fired on a UN helicopter monitoring the area. Destroy the SA-8 to send a clear message to the Red forces that interference in the UN mandate will not be tolerated. Rules of engagement: avoid escalating the conflict. However, you're cleared to fire on any SAM battery actively emitting and presenting a danger to your aircraft. Contact the Regional Tactical Air Control Center, the TAC, call sign Warhorse on frequency 261 on COM2 prior to takeoff for any mission updates. Mission 2 is the mission we built at the very first. Clear the Samtredia bridge of enemy armor to allow the UN humanitarian aid supply column to proceed into the city. Mission 3 is one we'll build in a later video. Intel assets have detected 4 Hind helicopters in an abandoned airfield south of Kobuleti. Radio intercepts have determined that the helicopters are being refueled and rearmed for a follow-on attack on the Samtredia area. Planned takeoff time is 20 minutes from now. Destroy the helicopters before they can accomplish the attack. Contact the Regional Tactical Air Control Center, Warhorse, on COM2, channel 263 for mission tasking. Okay, and that's just all the known threats that it puts in, the DCS World puts in. So we're not actually going to fly this. We're going to come out of it and go back into the mission editor. And I'm going to show you how I built the first mission, which was the seed, the dead mission. The triggers that I used are here in green, and we'll get back to those in a minute. But if you remember the scenario on that one, it was that an SA-8 at the bridge fired on a UN helicopter, and we need to take it out. So the first thing I need to do is put that SA-8 in the mission onto the map. So I put down a air defense unit, went into the ground menu, into the air defense menu, and into the type, and let's get back on that. The type was an SA-8. I named it Bridge SA-8-1, gave it a random skill, so we don't know whether they're going to be really good or really bad. I kind of like it doing it that way. And then I kind of pointed him off to the west there. Very important, because we're going to activate this one with a trigger. Actually, when we call Warhorse, it will activate him, and I'll show you how we're going to do that. So check mark in the late activation. Okay, so the target for the mission is down. We already have the aircraft. We're going to be flying off the Tarawa, so we don't need to put that in. But we are going to need a couple triggers. And the first trigger we're going to need is how to activate this particular mission. And I like to activate my missions through the radio. I just find it more immersive. So the first trigger that we're going to be using today is this one. This is just the label here on the name. Activate mission 1 via COM2, via the radio number 2. The condition, and this is a new trigger I wanted to show you, is if you go down the trigger menu all the way down to the bottom, you'll find these X arguments down here. And what we're looking for, or what we put in, was the X : cockpit parameter equal to script. So that's what this is. The parameter, you need to type it in exactly like this, which is COM2 _ freak. The value of that parameter, which is the radio frequency, will be 261.0. So 261.0. So when we set our radio 2 to that frequency, first thing it'll do is set a flag to 261. I just put it as 261 so that it would be easy to remember. The flag could be anything, as long as you don't have another flag that's the same thing. You got to keep them separate. That's one of the hardest things in mission building, is keeping all your flags separate. So you have to have some kind of a system if you're going to do a lot of flags, so you remember which ones were which. I usually like to put them actually in the title. That's why it says set flag 261. Okay, so first thing we did is it put this flag on, and I wanted to show you another, well, first we'll go to the message. We've seen this one before. We're going to send a message to the coalition, the blue coalition, and the text of that message is Dragonfly Warhorse. cleared to engage the SA-8 SAM at the Samtredia Bridge. Avoid escalating the conflict. However, you're cleared to engage any enemy air defenses that are hostile towards your mission. And that's going to be on for about 30 seconds. It's going to start about 10 seconds after this flag comes on. That way it gives us a chance to, if we want to be really immersive, to actually contact Warhorse and say, and check in. Okay. Now, me personally, a lot of times I don't see that little black text up in the right corner and when a message comes up. So I like to have an audio cue. And a good way of doing that is using this action. The action is called sound to coalition. Okay, there's sound to country, sound to group, but I use the sound to coalition usually. You can even do sound to all or sound stop. There's all kinds of things you can do. But sound to coalition works real good for me. And it's sound to coalition, the blue coalition. And you can develop your own audio files or you can pick them off the internet. If you're going to develop your own, a good program to do that is a program called Audacity. It's a free program that's you can download for Windows platforms. I think in Windows 10 it's actually called Audiotron, but it's the same sound recorder basically. But it will do the format that you need for DCS World, which I think it'll do dot waves, and it will also do .ogg, which is usually what I use. And let's see. Oh, it's sound to coalition. Let's see. Open. Just want to show you I've got a bunch of different ones, and this one is called, it's basically, I just say what it says, Dragonfly Warhorse. I'll copy so that when we check in with Warhorse, they'll come up and say that. So you go to where your sound files are and double click on it, and DCS World will put that in there, and it's really slick. And though you can even play it so you know you got the right one, the volume's not real high on it, so hopefully y'all can hear it.
Dragonfly Warhorse, I'll copy.
Okay. And that I put a start delay of 5 seconds after the flag comes on. So that way, 5 seconds after the flag comes on, we get the sound that comes up, and then I think it's about 10 seconds. Yeah, 10 seconds after, then we'll get the actual text message. So the audio cue cues us to look for the text message. Okay, so that's the first trigger that we're using for this mission, which again is once we turn the radio, the number 2 radio to 261 frequency, it sets this flag and alerts us with a message from Warhorse telling us what the rules of engagement are on this mission. The second trigger I want to use is that basically activates the SA-8 on the bridge so that we have a target actually. So again, this is just the label, activate mission 1 bridge SA-8. So if the flag is true, if we've set the frequency to 261, it's going to group activate. And the group it's going to activate is that SA-8 that we placed out near the bridge. And our third trigger is once we've killed that SA-8, the mission's successful. Again, label, mission 1 successful, flag, it's going to set flag 501. So if we kill the SA-8, the condition If the group's dead, type group dead, and the group will be the bridge SA8. Then the action is going to set a flag, and just my method is 500 flags are usually mission successful flags for me. That's just how I do it. And so flag on 501, and the sound of the coalition. I'm using the Dragonfly Warhorse outcopy sound file, just like I showed you in the other one. And the message will be the message to the coalition, the blue coalition, Dragonfly Warhorse. ELIN assets indicate that the SA8 is off the air. Nice job, cleared to return to base. That'll be on for 20 seconds, and that starts, how did I start that so late? About 35 seconds after you successfully, I wanted to give it enough time to make it look kind of realistic that the RC-135 or whatever the ELIN asset was actually saw that the SA8 was off the air. And that's the third trigger. And then it's kind of another immersive kind of thing. I just kind of figured if you go in and you destroy one of their SAMs, they're going to be kind of ticked off. So once you kill that SA8, I wanted it to bring up their air defense network, make the mission a little bit more challenging. So now you got to pick your way out of there, or if you want to go kill some more SAMs, you can. But if you were doing the mission as immersive as it's intended, your only objective was to kill that SA8, not escalate the conflict, and come back to the boat. And that's how a lot of missions are. You don't just kill everything in sight. You have your mission, and you do that particular objective, and other people are going to be doing the other objectives. So for this last trigger, it's going to activate the SAM network after the bridge attack. So if flag is true 261, and if you remember, that was the flag when we to initiate this mission, when we put 261 in the radio. If that flag is true, and if it's true 501, that's the one that said that we killed the SA8. So if we killed the SA8 and we are indeed on mission 1, then it's going to set a flag, and that flag on is 11. And 11 is actually a flag we've used before, which if we go on up further, let's see, activate SAMs, flag on 11 will actually, let's go down to here, activate one of these triggers depending on the random number that was generated at the beginning of the mission. And that you'll have to go back to the second video if you want to understand the randomization that we've used in this mission for the SAMs. All right. Okay, so that's, and I also wanted to show you, I like kind of getting a confirmation that, I did the mission. It was kind of cool. So under define mission goals for mission 1, and again, this name is just a label. For mission 1, the bridge SA8 destroyed. The condition for that was flag is true 501, because if you remember, if we kill the SA8, flag 501 comes on, and that'll give us a score of 100 because that was a completely successful mission. Okay. Well, hopefully that worked a little better, me just kind of talking you through the triggers that I've already built rather than me building them as we were going along, because as I said, that way you don't have to suffer through my slow typing. And hopefully I was clear enough explaining it that you can use those triggers in some of your missions. And thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed it. And y'all take care, and we'll see you next time.